If there's someone in your life who constantly brings you down, drains your energy, and makes you doubt yourself, this video could change a lot in your life, because today I'm going to explain how to deal with a narcissistic person, but not just the usual advice. 7 clear steps that actually work and will make a real difference when you put them into practice. And if you follow these steps correctly, that person won't be able to affect you the way they used to. In fact, even if they don't want to, they'll have no choice but to respect you. One of the most draining things that can happen to a person in life is being in a relationship with someone who constantly brings you down, drains your energy, and wears on your spirit. The narcissistic person I'm talking about here isn't limited to your love life. They could be someone from your professional life, your school life, your social circle, or even a family member you love dearly. Sometimes it gets to the point where the person in front of you makes a habit of upsetting you, confusing you, or even making you doubt yourself. And after a while, you realize this. When you look sad or hurt, they seem to feel better, happier. Unfortunately, these kinds of relationships are much more common than you might think, because there are far more people who behave this way than you realize. But one of the most damaging of all is a relationship with a narcissist. Being with someone who belittles you, shows you no respect, gradually erodes your self-confidence, and makes you withdraw further into yourself day by day. This is what ultimately causes a person to lose their sense of self over the long term. That's why in this talk I'm going to explain something very clearly to you. How to deal with a narcissist, but not just in a superficial way. I'll share steps that actually work, steps that will make a real difference when you put them into practice. There are 7 steps in total, and if you follow them correctly, the narcissist in your life will no longer be able to hurt you. Even if they don't want to, they'll have to show you the respect and value you deserve. They'll have to consider every move they make in relation to you. They'll have to accept that you're an individual and that your life doesn't revolve solely around them. But first you need to understand something very important. Why hasn't it worked so far? If what you've tried up to this point had worked, you wouldn't be watching this video right now, would you, my friend? That means something is going wrong somewhere. And most of the time, that mistake stems from something much simpler than we think. The truth is, you still believe that love can change people. You say that if I'm patient, things will get better. You say that if I'm understanding, they'll see my worth. You think your sacrifices will soften their hard heart. You give in, you stay silent. But the outcome never changes. Because a narcissistic personality doesn't work that way. It works completely differently. They don't understand the language of love. They don't understand kindness. They don't appreciate sacrifice. Let me be clear. A narcissist always wears a mask of grandeur to hide the fear within. The person we call a narcissist is, in reality, quite fragile and fearful deep down. But to hide this fear, they put on a false mask of superiority. They constantly try to appear strong. And to maintain this mask, they need to belittle you. The more you give in to him, the more he sees it not as love, but as weakness. The more you forgive him, the more he sees it as an opportunity to hurt you further. In psychology, this is called projection. He projects his own fear of insignificance onto you. He makes you feel small so that he can feel big. He draws his strength from your weakness. In other words, the more goodwill you show, the more he takes advantage of it. You mistook sacrificing your dignity for self-sacrifice. You mistook enduring insults for patience. But the truth is, none of that was love. It was fear you were experiencing. At some point, you need to realize this. What you're experiencing isn't love. It's the fear of being alone. It's the fear of being abandoned. It's the fear of facing the reality that this person doesn't actually love you. A narcissist doesn't love anyone. Narcissists use people as mirrors to see their own imagined grandeur. And for a long time you were that obedient mirror. But today together we will shatter that mirror, and you will learn to stand before him not as a reflection of his desires, but as a strong person with your own will. When you do this, the narcissist who once looked down on you will suddenly begin to respect you, because he respects only power, and your task right now is to be strong. Now I'm going to explain how to do this, but listen carefully, because there are certain methods a narcissist uses to control you step by step, but it's time to break this cycle. Now let's move on to the first step. Step 1. Don't respond emotionally to provocation. A narcissist will try to provoke you to bring out your darker side. When you realize this, you shouldn't show any emotional reaction to them. Let me explain this a bit further so you can understand it better. First of all, you should know that a narcissist is extremely skilled at manipulation. They know exactly what will upset you, what will make you cry, and what will make you angry, and they use this as leverage. Because your emotional reactions give them two important things: power and a sense of importance. For example, when you get angry or cry in front of them, they feel like they're in control of you. The strongest defense you can have against someone trying to hurt you is to deny them the pleasure they're expecting. You know, a narcissist is like a child throwing a ball at a wall. Every time the ball bounces back, they get excited and keep going. But if they throw the ball and it doesn't bounce back, they lose interest very quickly. You are that wall. Their hurtful words are that ball. So the next time someone says something that upsets you, don't yell or get upset and cry. Don't defend yourself, just stay calm. Act as if nothing happened. And if you have to respond, just say okay or all right and move on. You might say, but if I do that, they'll just come after me even more. No, quite the opposite. Your composure will hurt them, upset them, and leave them disappointed. Believe me, composure is what disappoints a narcissist the most, because they won't get the emotional breakdown they're expecting from you. As they can no longer feed off the chaos, they might escalate their words a bit more to provoke you with anger. But as long as you stay calm and composed, you'll be the winner of this game, because you figured out the game and decided not to play it anymore. Do you know what happens next? If the narcissist provokes you but you don't explode or react emotionally, the narcissist sees that provocation doesn't work. Then they try to drag you into arguments that harm you. They twist their words, drag out the conversation, and try to make you feel worthless, confuse you, and lower your self-confidence. The thing narcissists love most is provoking you, making you angry, upsetting you, getting under your skin. Because when you react, they feel powerful. They think they're in control of you. So what should you do here? What you need to do is take the next step. Step 2. Avoid arguments. Arguing with a narcissist is like trying to run through a swamp. No matter how hard you try, you just get sucked in deeper. Narcissists are extremely cunning and quite skilled at playing with words. Even if you try to explain the truth to them, you won't succeed, because this type of person will always interpret your words exactly as they want. In the end, you'll find yourself accused of something you didn't do. The narcissist appears so certain of their own rightness that you'll forget your own truth and start doubting yourself. But you need to realize this. This isn't an argument. It's psychological manipulation. Because the narcissist doesn't want to understand the argument or solve the problem. They want to win the argument. Just win. Their sole purpose is to prove how wrong and flawed you are and to demonstrate that they alone are right. Isn't that difficult? So much so that they'll keep trying to win until you give up. That's why these arguments never end. Don't try to convince him. Don't try to find a solution. Because his goal isn't to understand you. It's to wear you down, to confuse you, to make you doubt yourself. So at some point you need to learn to say, "This conversation is pointless," and really walk away. Get out of there. Because then he'll realize that your time and energy don't belong to him. And this time, he'll come after you and wonder why you're running away from him. He'll want to keep things the way they used to be with you. From that moment on, once he sees that you're no longer as accessible as before, he'll start treating you with more respect. Because he'll understand that your precious time and energy truly don't belong to him, and he'll start blaming you again. He'll try to make you feel like you're the one who isn't fighting for this relationship, like you're the one not putting in the effort, and he'll demand that you defend yourself. Here's where you need to take the third step, my friend. Stop explaining yourself and defending yourself. Remember, this isn't an escape. It's about setting boundaries. Step 3. Stop explaining yourself. This is very important. Constantly explaining yourself to a narcissist empowers them, because every explanation you give them essentially says, "I'm in the wrong, and I need to defend myself." There's a quote by Carl Jung: "He who looks outward dreams, he who looks inward awakens." That's why, when you focus on yourself and look inward, you'll realize that most of the things you feel compelled to explain to a narcissist are actually your natural rights. Your right to be tired, your right to be sad, your right to say no. You're an individual too. You have your own thoughts and your own rights. Since when have such natural and simple things become things that need to be explained away? So next time a narcissist comes at you, don't make excuses or apologize. Don't say, "I'm sorry, I was really tired," for example. Just say, "I was tired," and leave it at that. When you stop playing the role of the guilty party, the narcissist will have no choice but to treat you as an equal, even if they don't want to. But the narcissist won't stop there. Do you know what will happen? When they see that you're being cold toward them, withdrawing from arguments, and no longer making excuses for them, they'll do this. They'll ask you to do something that forces you out of your comfort zone. So what do you need to do here? What you need to do here is take the fourth step. Step 4. Learn to say no. And most importantly, no. But a no without an explanation. Because for a narcissist, no is the start of an argument. The moment you give a reason, they start to refute it. Remember, my friend, the last time you simply said no to a narcissist without giving an explanation, this is something they're not used to, and they'll have to take you seriously. A narcissist doesn't see the word no as a final decision on your part, but rather as the start of a negotiation. That's why they'll drag you into an argument until you give in. Every time you explain why you're saying no, you're giving them opportunities to defeat you. They'll start to pick apart those reasons one by one and eventually make you feel like you're the selfish one. You need to understand this. In a relationship with a narcissist, the boundaries we set for ourselves are not walls we build. On the contrary, these boundaries are doors, and you are the one who owns that door. You decide when it opens and when it closes. You don't need their approval. For example, if a narcissistic person makes a request of you that you can't fulfill, what you need to do is refuse them outright. You should say no immediately without feeling inadequate or thinking that you can't do what's expected of you. That's all there is to it. You should be able to say no without offering an explanation. Let's say you turned down a narcissist's request and they wanted to know why you turned them down. Respond to them like this: "It didn't feel right to me, so I turned it down. That's all. I don't have any other reason to give you right now." With this sentence, you're not belittling them, attacking them, or doing anything hurtful. You're simply respecting their right to refuse. In short, you're showing respect for yourself. This is exactly the moment when the narcissist will get angry. Because in your behavior, there's no opening for them to latch onto and attack you. In the end, whether they like it or not, they'll have to respect your decision. Because you're saying no as a clear, unambiguous statement, here's what will happen. Once the narcissist realizes you're no longer treating them this way, their curiosity about you will grow. They'll want to learn more about you. They'll try to figure out what makes you so strong. That's why they'll be determined to get to know you on a deeper level and delve into your personal details. So what do you need to do here? You need to take the 5th step. Step 5. Don't share your personal life. Remember, anything you share with a narcissist could one day be used against you. Especially if you're used to sharing everything, keep this in mind. Every detail you tell a narcissist turns into a weapon they can use against you. If you share your worries, they'll use them to scare you. If you share your dreams, they'll belittle them the moment they want to hurt you. If you share your problems, they'll always blame you. If you truly want to protect yourself from a narcissist, you need to understand this very clearly. There are certain areas within us that must remain sacred and protected. Not everyone deserves access to these areas. This isn't selfishness, it's wisdom. Because a narcissist will see the intimacy you offer them as an opportunity to control you. The more they know about you, the easier it becomes for them to manipulate you. So start limiting the information you give him. Don't tell him everything. Don't share your dreams and plans with him. Besides, remember that dreams come true faster when they aren't shared. Why have you become so distant from me over time? Don't you trust me? Don't fall into that trap. Calmly tell them, I like to keep some things to myself. Know this. When you keep your inner world to yourself, they'll start to respect you, even if they don't want to. Because mystery breeds respect. Excessive openness, on the other hand, makes you an easy target. So what will the narcissist do when they realize you're being so mindful around them and no longer sharing details? In this situation, they'll try to manipulate you and make you feel guilty. So what should you do at this point? What you need to do here is apply step 6. Step 6, hold up a mirror. There's something important here. I'm not saying you should be like him. Even if you wanted to, you couldn't be as ruthless as he is, but you should treat him the way he treats you. For example, if he's slow to reply to your messages or calls, you should be slow to reply to his too. If he's disrespectful to you by canceling plans at the last minute, you should cancel at the last minute the next time. If they interrupt you while you're speaking, forget what you said and start talking about themselves, then you should forget what they said too. Put yourself at the center of your life. Remember, people teach us how we should treat them. If you don't react to the disrespect they show you, the other person will assume you've accepted it. But if you treat them the way they treat you, then you'll have taught that narcissist a powerful lesson. But don't forget, the moment your behavior toward them changes, they'll immediately ask you what's wrong with you. They'll say things like, "Why have you become so harsh?" Or, "Why have you become so cold?" As if they weren't the ones who've been like that from the very beginning. A narcissist is a self-centered person who views their own behavior as normal, but finds it strange when others act the same way. Remember, whether the narcissist changes and adapts to you or drifts away from you, you'll come out on top either way. Having people around you who you can't stand, who aren't good for you, and who drain your energy is a much worse situation. So don't hesitate to play this game. You're going to win anyway, my friend. These points will guide you, and with the 7th step, no one will be able to affect or upset you again, my friend. Step 7. Remember your worth. This is the most important step. From the very beginning, my goal has been to teach you your own worth, to show you just how valuable you are. Because a narcissistic relationship gradually distances you from yourself, you forget your own worth. You try so hard that over time you start telling yourself, "I'm sensitive, I'm needy, I'm not successful, I'm inadequate." Remember, my friend, all of this is a huge lie, and this is the greatest harm being done to you. You are not the broken person he wants you to believe you are. You are a perfectly normal person with feelings and rights. You deserve to be loved unconditionally and to be happy. You deserve to be respected without having to explain yourself. Tell yourself this every day. I am valuable. I deserve respect. I deserve to be loved. I deserve peace. If you truly believe this from the bottom of your heart, you can be sure your life will completely change. You'll never again settle for less than you deserve. You won't stay in relationships that cause you more harm than pain. And rest assured, the narcissist will either start seeing you in a different light or go off in search of another victim. Either way, you're the winner, because you finally learned to respect yourself. But you might be thinking, what if they get angry? What if they leave me? What if they threaten me? This is exactly the point where I want you to understand this. It's a natural fear. You've been living with their fear for a long time already. But know this. Living with fear while standing tall and being yourself is far better than living in submission. Remember, life begins where your comfort zone ends, and you're currently standing on the threshold of a brand new beginning. They might get angry, exert pressure, or make threats. These are all methods they could use to try to pull you back into your old submissive self, but you won't go back. If you ever feel like you're losing control, watch this video again, because every time you watch it, you'll notice things you didn't see before. If this video alone isn't enough, never hesitate to reach out to me. If this video has raised your awareness even a little, liking it and subscribing shows me I'm not alone on this journey. Finally, keep moving forward on your own path. Everything is in your hands.